Hello, welcome. Welcome to this very special session of SSC CGL Tier 3, that is descriptive writing. Today we are going to do essay writing inside this session. Though this particular session is targeted towards SSC CGL Tier 3 exams, this would be helpful for any exam which has descriptive or essay writing in it. Now, what is today's agenda? Let's look at that first. First, we are going to run through very fast, briefly, the steps of essay writing. There are 4 steps to essay writing. We will run through them. And then we are going to write an essay to reassert the process in which you are supposed to create an essay for yourself. Now, as SSC Tier 3 is a pen and paper exam, therefore, I am going to write the essay here. With the digital pen, I am going to write the essay here on the screen. Okay. So, at the onset, pardon my handwriting, because with even if my handwriting is okay kind of, but with this digital pen, it never turns out to be the way we want it to. Okay, right. So, but the idea would be that while you are writing and thinking together, how would you put forward your words, the points, and frame them into sentences, coherent sentences. That's the idea, right? And that is something that students find problem in also. So I thought, why not to show you exactly how to do it by doing it myself. Okay, right. So we will run through the whole process. So we will gather the points, we will design the points in a coherent way while writing the essay and write the essay, so that you have complete idea about how you need to approach while writing your essay. Clear? Okay. So that's our today's agenda. Now, let's first revise the steps of essay writing. You have already learnt about steps of essay writing in my previous lectures, the lectures I had delivered in the personality development playlist. Okay. If you have not gone through those relevant lectures, I'll give you the reference of those lectures and I'll give the link in the description section. You can just go through those lectures too. That would be hardly 50 minutes to 1 hour of work. Now, first step, read the topic and identify the keywords in the topic. Now, understand, whenever a topic is given to you, my dear friends, there would be keywords in it. Keywords meaning what it deals with, and there would be 3 to 4 important keywords. So identify them. The next step is to create points. What would you write? What points would you include inside the essay? Creating them is important, right? That we do how? Through T analysis. Okay, and T analysis video reference I'll give it to you. Now, T analysis, which is I get helps analysis plus keyword analysis, through it you can have a lot of points. But essentially, for a 250 to 300 words passage or essay which you are supposed to write, okay, you do not need more than 4 to 5 points. So once you have a handful of points, like 5 to 6 at the max, you are done. You do not need to hunt for more points. You need to now orient your points in such a way so that you can write your essay, right? So today also we are going to do the same thing. Then the third step, the main step, is writing the essay and ensuring all the points are incorporated, or most of the points are incorporated, and structure the essay in such a way so that it helps in understanding. See, whenever you write something, what is the purpose? The person who is reading it, it is easy for him to read. It is easy for him to understand. These are the 2 main purposes. Obviously, it has to be relevant to the context. That's obvious. But then it has to be easy to read and easy to be understood also. Then only he would enjoy it, he would understand it, and he would mark it favorably for you. So that IBC format, introduction, body and conclusion format, is what we would be trying to do in our essay also. And pick any one order discussed. Now, which are the orders? There are different orders that I had told you. Remember, cause effect order in the body, advantage disadvantage order. Okay, so whatever order you feel like you can pick up. Okay. Next, finally, encapsulate. Now, while writing, now this is the format of the passage. IBC is the format of the essay: introduction, body, conclusion. But how do I frame my sentences so that they are easy to read, easy to understand? For that, you would remember we talked about prep, we talked about KISS, right? Keep it simple and straightforward. You will have to follow those. Okay. Again, if you do not know the detail of how to do it, obviously, while looking at today's essay writing, while I write the essay, you will understand how to do it. If you want to go into detail, you can refer to the previous lectures that I would give reference to. Okay. Now, I will move out from the screen and give you the reference lectures first, which would be there in the description section too. Read the topic and identify the keywords. This process has been narrated in my verbal communication 2 content development, the warrior's way lecture. Then write in IBC format and do a T analysis. This was also in these two, was here. Then write in IBC format, pick any one of the order discussed was in this lecture. And in this lecture was the pebble and the kissway, the encapsulation part. Okay, right? So all of these lectures I have given the link in here. Now let's dive in to today's topic, and in that the step 1. Read the topic and identify the keywords. So what's the topic? Let's see. Okay, the topic is impact of COVID-19 on education. So it's a generic topic. First keyword here is impact, right? Second keyword here is COVID-19, and the third keyword is education. So if you have to make your essay relevant to the topic, you will have to gather points on these keywords, right? Okay. Now, the second step, step number 2, is to do a T analysis, and in T analysis we have already found out the keywords. Now, the second step in the T analysis is to do I get helps analysis. Now, I would not go into the details of I get helps analysis. I will just give you the result of the I get helps analysis, because today my purpose is to show you, you have some points, how do you organize them in a way so that you can write a effective essay, right? So I will take these I get helps. So as you can understand that I get helps, it's an acronym for international, geographic, environmental, technological, historical, economical, legal, political, social. Now, what essentially I get helps does is it gives you points regarding different areas from where points can come in this particular topic. For example, the moment I thought about international, I thought about what are the previous pandemics that came. Bubonic plague came to my mind, cholera came to my mind, Spanish flu came to my mind. Then I was reading somewhere 2-3 months back that students in universities are not getting proper education in India, also in outside across the world. Okay. Then there was one bit of news that came to my mind was that in India, when online education was going from the school, online education was asked to be given to all students. Now, many state governments said that you cannot do so because there would be underprivileged people who would not get the benefit of that online education. And with that, I remembered one set of data that 40% of school going children have internet, which essentially means 60% do not have it. So, environmental, I did not get any relevant content, but technological, online education, teacher and student became more tech oriented due to this online education process. Then economical things, points that came to my mind. First of all, for COVID across the world there was lockdown, and lockdown created a strain in economy, and the automatic result of that is parents are not able to pay fees. Also, I happen to remember that some traditional universities were closing down or had declared bankruptcy. More importantly, financial exigency is what they called it in United States. And online universities like University of People are opening up. Okay, with courses at almost 20%, 15% of the price that was there in the traditional university. So these are stuff that I know from my reading. And when you make your thoughts flow through compartments, you sort of get points very easily. And that's what happened with me also. So this took around 2 minutes of time to jot down, to write down. So how many points are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So mostly 7 points because these two are the same point. Okay, but then 6 to 7 points are there. Let's see whether we are able to use all of them in the passage or in the essay and write an essay. So that was step 2 of ours. Now we'll move on to step 3 and step 4. What were they? Writing the essay in IBC format and using prep, ERP and KISS advice inside while writing each sentences. Okay, right? Now I'll start writing with these as my guide. Okay, chalo, let's start. So this is how the page is given to you. Obviously your page would be a little broader and you will have most probably 5 columns in each one of the page and around 14-15 rows. So here I have around 13 rows and 4 columns and there are 2 such boxes. Okay, right. So I will write from this, I will write till this, I will not use the last line, and then I will move on to this and then write till this. Okay, I am not using the last line so that it is clear to you, you are able to see it clearly. You can obviously use the last line. Okay, 2-3 things of writing while you are writing on paper needs to be remembered. First of all, the punctuation should be coming alongside the previous word. So for example, if you are writing ago and for that a full stop, so the full stop would come in here. Okay, and so whatever the word preceding the punctuation should be coming with that, comma, full stop, whatever it is. Secondly, when you are doing a para break, that is you are moving on to a para. For example, you have already written an introduction and you want to, and the introduction ends here, let's say the introduction ends here. So you move on and write the para from the next line. You can also keep one complete line blank so that it is more understandable and write from here. So whichever you feel is good. I normally do it from the next line only, and the boxes that are empty shows that it's a para break. Okay, so let's start. These are our points. The points would be in front of us. So you'll just scribble down the points just like I have done. So once you have scribbled down the points, what you will do, you will start writing. Now the writing process is where we will think and write. Okay. So the first thing that comes to my mind is, how do I frame the intro? Now all of these are specific, okay? But the first point, this one was a generic one, and it really does not relate to COVID as such, but to pandemics in general. So if we introduce with a pandemic kind of situation, then it would be something of a good introduction, because we will not be able to use this later on, right? So how do we start? Let's start with something like that our world, or we have seen a lot of pandemics, right? So let's write that our world has seen many pandemics over the years. And what were the pandemics? In form of bubonic plague. These are the pandemics, no? Bubonic plague, then cholera, okay, bubonic plague, comma, cholera, okay, comma, Spanish flu, etc. Full stop, right? Okay, so this is our first line. Short, small lines. Don't try to impress them with good words. Don't try to impress them with difficult, complex sentences. No, that's a myth. That's a myth that in professional writing, see, this is a professional writing. In professional writing, you do not need to, let me come on the screen, do not need to impress the examiner with your superior writing capabilities and vocabulary. What you are supposed to do to impress the examiner, and the examiner would be impressed by that also, is how you frame your thoughts into words and sentences and give a clear cut meaning to whatever you are wanting to say. So therefore, don't go for something which does not fetch you extra marks. Rather go for something which would fetch you short marks, and that are simple sentences, simple ways of writing, vocabulary, normal vocabulary. Okay, does that. And that makes our job easier too. Now the next part. Now we will have to move on towards corona from here, or COVID from here, right? So this was about pandemics. So this basically primed up for our subject to come. When we introduce, there is a way of introduction, or I will say there are 2-3 ways of introduction. Some people introduce it with a quote, okay, but that's something which cannot be done for every kind of topic, because you'll have to remember a relevant quote, and that should be fitting. If you find a relevant quote without any extra effort, you can obviously start with it, but remember it has to be relevant. Okay. Second way is to use a general stuff and sort of make your hero of the essay a part of that general stuff, which I am doing in this particular case. And the third is to explain the topic and start off. Okay, so the second is what we are doing in here. We have understood a generic way in which pandemic comes and affects, and then we are introducing our COVID. A highly contagious, let's introduce COVID now. A highly contagious strain of coronaviruses. COVID is a type of coronavirus. Okay, there would be a comma here. COVID-19. Please understand, while writing in here, as I told you, in with digital pen, there would be some lines here and there, but while you are writing in pen and paper, you can make it fit inside the box, and remember, the words should be fitting inside the box. Okay, COVID-19 is the latest in this list. What would I say? I introduce COVID-19 now, that it is a highly contagious strain of coronaviruses, and it is the latest in this list of pandemics, in this list, and like every pandemic, it has changed the world in ways, unprecedented ways. So in like every pandemic before it, is also before comma, not comma here, it is also altering our life in unprecedented ways. I hope you are listening to me, because my writing might not be clear, but when I am speaking, you might get that idea from what I am writing. So let's read it. Our world has seen many pandemics over the years in form of bubonic plague, cholera, Spanish flu, etc. A highly contagious strain of coronaviruses, COVID-19, is the latest in this list, and like every pandemic before it, is also altering our life in unprecedented ways. Okay, right. So if you do not know where to put comma, where to put full stop, go to those old lectures and you would find how to do so. But I hope you at this point you know how to use your punctuations. Now I have introduced COVID, but the topic was about COVID and education, right? So I'll have to introduce that education wala stuff also. Now I have said that it has affected many areas. Now this is the perfect setting to introduce education. What do? I say that like everything, education is also not untouched by it. So let's write it down. Like every walk of life, every walk of life is for every area. Every walk of life, comma, education is also not untouched by it, right? So this is our first para. I have introduced education, I have introduced COVID-19, everything has been introduced. Okay. So it's an introduction which is how many words? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and 13, 14. 14 into 4, it is 56 plus 1, 57. 57 words. We want to write a 300 word essay and I have a 57 word to 60 word introduction. Perfectly fine. Now you would remember our points. Let's bring the points this side. We will not be able to look at them because I have written over it, but we will get an idea about it. Na? And the points here says that India 40% school going children have internet, then university, online education. So basically most of my points relate to school and college education or university education. So now I have decided that my body should have a school education part and a college education or university education part, right? So my body would be divided into two paras, in which one I will be referring to school education and college education. Achha, there is another aspect to my points. I have given the advantages, that is the good things what happened due to corona, the innovation, the online education. But I have also talked about the negatives, like 40% school going children only have internet, traditional universities closing down. So I would, inside my body, I would use the advantage and disadvantage wala structure. Okay, theek hai? Chalo. So let's write it down. So first let's take the school education. What happened due to COVID-19? Lockdown happened and therefore schools got indefinitely closed. Indefinitely closed, full stop. To impart education, comma, what happened, teachers and schools started venturing into online education. That was one of my point. So teachers and schools ventured into online education. Okay, right? Full stop. Let's put a full stop. So what happened due to online education? We saw that both teacher as well as student became good at tech, right? So let's write that as it is. Simple point, simple statement. We don't want to be a hero. We just want to be an effective professional writer. Remember that. So this meaning online education has made both students and teachers more tech friendly. Okay? This has made both students and teachers more tech friendly. What has happened due to that? That learning has got continued even with closed school. So we can write that also, ensuring learning getting continued even with closed schools. Okay, right. Take now. So full stop here. So what did I do? I showed what was the effect that happened to schools and how the schools and the teachers reacted to it. Okay. Now let's move on to the next point. What was our next point? That children do not only learn in school, they do not only learn the classroom teaching, they learn important life skills. So let's make that part of it. So how do I make part of it? See, this is worthy of credit. What the teachers have done here is worthy of credit. So let's first give them credit. Though these endeavors are, let's move on to the next page. Endeavors are worthy of credit. So these are worthy of credit. Okay. But then what? But we should remember what? That schools are not only for classroom learning. Children, what? Children learn important life skills. What do schools teach us? Life skills. Such as, let's give some example. See, when you give some example, then the reader knows that you have an idea about what you are talking about. Right? So life skills such as what? See, social skills, communication, everything is life skill, na? Communication, social skills, social skills, games of physical fitness, etc. So what did it say? But we should remember children learn important life skills such as communication, social skills, games, etc. Where do they learn? In schools. In schools, and that is missing in this format. That is missing in this format. Okay? Full stop. That is missing in this format. I hope you are following my voice, because as I can see, my writing is everywhere. But as I told you earlier, pardon me for my writing, because it's really very difficult to write so small in this digital pad. So try to follow my voice and you will understand what I am writing. Okay, because I am also speaking them loud. So in this format of learning, all of these are missing. The life skill training is missing. Now I also remember to have given that in school going children only 40% are having internet. That means majority does not have internet. So let's put that point also. Also in countries such as India, comma, around 40% school going students, that was what, na? 40%, na? 40% of school going students have internet or access to internet. You can write any one of them, which means majority will be deprived of the benefit of basic education, है ना? If online education becomes the norm, that then majority would lose the benefit of basic education. So this was all related to school. Let's go back and see now the school wala part, the first part of the body. Schools got indefinitely closed. Then to impart education, teachers and schools ventured into online education, full stop. This has made both students and teachers more tech friendly, ensuring learning getting continued even with closed schools. Though these endeavors are, let's move on to the next, endeavors are worthy of credit, but we should remember children learn important life skills such as communication, social skills, games, etc. in schools, and that is missing in this format, full stop. Also, in countries such as India, around 40% school going students have internet, which means majority will be deprived of the benefit of basic education. See, all simple sentences made from the points that I had already generated before writing the essay. So I am just writing it from the points, and we are not needed to think many things. Just stick to the points and write them. So today's task, the task that I wanted to do for you guys is that you are able to understand how to write. Having a set of points is important, okay, but how to use them to write, okay, and while you are writing on pen and paper, how would you use them? Because that's the challenge that many of you have shared with me, right? So if that is the challenge, why not to show you how to do it? That was the purpose of today. Let me come on the screen. That was the purpose of today. So that is why I'm taking so much effort of writing everything down, so that you get an idea that how you are supposed to do that, right? I'm not giving you a typed version, that's the reason. But also understand that while doing it, when you need to do it, you will have to have a practice to do it. So once you are done with this lecture, try and do it by yourself. We'll come to that after we have written the rest part of the essay. Now, we have written the introduction, we have written the first part of the body. Now the second para of the body, and the second para of the body would be related to education in the universities, the colleges. So what are the points that we have for them? Let's look at it. We have online education, we have teacher student more tech oriented. These both are done, though online education would also come in the part where we would be discussing university education. Then in economical, we are saying that parents are not able to pay fees, traditional universities closing and online universities opening, students in universities not getting proper education. So these 2-3 points can be included. Okay, so let's include them. Let's move further. Let me move out of the screen now. So what are the students in higher education facing? They are facing two challenges. First of all, due to it being online, the education that they are getting is inadequate, because see, in higher education, less engineering or management or arts, even with commerce, there are so much of experiments or real life learning that happens, right? That is missing. So let's write it down. So there are two challenges that our students are facing. So let's break a para and start from here. Students in higher education faced double challenges. Okay. Full stop. What are they? Their classes, which were online now, mostly online now, comma, were inadequate. So only classroom learning is not the learning in higher education, na? Neither in higher education nor in school education. Okay, so that was inadequate, comma, and they, this just line comes again and again. Okay, and they needed to pay the fees. That is the second problem, because their parents were in economic distress due to lockdown. We had a point of that, so I will relate it to it. In many cases, their families reeling under means severely affected, okay, reeling under the pressure of lockdown, because everywhere lockdown happened. So see, important basic points, but we miss. Lockdown happened everywhere due to COVID. Okay, so their families, here there would be a comma. Okay, one important thing regarding comma. See, in many cases their families. So this is the main part, and there is a comma here and there is a comma here. So the comma after families and the comma after lockdown makes whatever is in between those two commas something which is additional information. This is called the parenthesis function of comma. Okay, right. So remember that in many cases their families, comma, reeling under the pressure of lockdown. So we are talking about additional information regarding those families. Lockdown, comma, were unable to pay the fees. Their families were unable to pay the fees. Full stop. Now it's full stop. So in many cases their families were unable to pay the fees. This is the important part. And why? Due to lockdown, economic lockdown. Now what happened due to it? If their families were not able to pay the fees to universities and colleges, what would happen? Universities and colleges would have shortfall of revenue. Universities, you would write the full university spelling. I am just writing university, UNIV. And let's move on to the next slide. Colleges, what happened? Saw, therefore saw a drastic means too much, shortfall of revenue. See, I am not needed to go back again to my point, because once I am writing in an order, I know that would come. But anyways, you can have the point in front of you that universities had drastic shortfall of revenue. Okay. And that is why what happened, leading some of them to declare financial exigency, right? So this is what happened with the universities and the colleges. They saw a drastic shortfall of revenue because parents were not able to pay the fees, or the students were not able to pay the fees, families were not able to pay the fees. Achha, what happened due to this? This situation led to spawning of online universities, है ना? That's what I have written in the last point, online universities opening. This has led to spawning of online universities. You can take an example like University of People, right? You can take that example. Online universities offering, and what these online universities do? They offer alternative courses. We got it? Now, this is till now I have used all the points, most of the points that I have written down in my I get helps activity. Now, what is the question? See, traditional universities have their own benefits, right? So, traditional universities closing down and online universities opening, is it a good thing always? That is something that we need to keep in mind, and that's where we will end this paragraph. See, your paragraph has to have a mini conclusion for itself. So, I showed that in higher education there was disadvantage that classes went on and people were not getting benefit of the classes as much because there are so many real life work that needs to be done, right, in higher education, which was missing. Secondly, there was another thing that was very important, and that was that shortfall of revenue is resulting in the offline universities, the traditional universities getting closed. And finally, I had said that online education universities opened up. Now, what is the point of this? The point of this is to raise a question. Is it good? Right. So, let's raise a question in the form of a question. But the question remains, can online courses cover up for the hands-on real world learning? Because that's what is in our mind. Hai So, let's just write it down only. But the question remains dash can online courses cover up for the hands dash on, that's how you write hands on, real world learning, right? So this is how you frame it. Now let's go back and see what was the higher education para. Students in higher education face double challenges. Full stop. Their classes, mostly online now, were inadequate and they needed to pay the fees. Very simply stated. In many cases, their families, reeling under the pressure of lockdown, were unable to pay the fees. Full stop. Universities and colleges therefore saw a drastic shortfall of revenue, leading some of them to declare financial exigency. If you don't know the word financial exigency, because that was a technical word that had been used by the universities, write bankruptcy. This has led to spawning of online universities offering alternative courses. Full stop. But the question, here would be a full stop. But the question remains, can online courses cover up for the hands-on real world learning? The final paragraph, the conclusion. We have talked about schools. Achha, have you seen that I am talking about advantages and disadvantages that has happened due to COVID and COVID related lockdown in both school and college, universities, right? So now that we have collated advantages, disadvantages, in conclusion, we will have to say something about it. So what do we say? We can go in this way. Now, what would be a conclusion in these cases? Definitely, wherever we have shown that okay, online is good, but we cannot make offline replace with online. So that should be our direction also. Let's write it, think and write it. So, though COVID-19 has propelled propelled a move towards some innovative techniques, but at the same time has resulted in marginalizing means not able to service them and making them isolated, marginalizing many students, right? ठीक है, full stop. So though COVID-19 has propelled a move towards some innovative techniques, but at the same time has resulted in marginalizing many students. Also, online education, what do I say? Should be treated as what? Replacement of offline education? No, my whole direction had been that it should be supporting. A good word would be complementary, right? So let's slide that. Also, online education should be complementary and not a replacement of traditional education system. Okay? So how do we end it? So though COVID-19 has propelled a move towards some innovative techniques, but at the same time has resulted in marginalizing many students. So I have talked about the marginalizing issue. See, conclusion is about a short summary and ending with a note towards a solution if it's a problem oriented essay. Also, online education should be complementary and not a replacement of traditional system. So last line, we should keep this in mind, or these, THESE, these money, the complementary part and innovative techniques marginalize, they marginalize the students, these in mind while marching back to a new normal. Now, new normal is a new word, popularized after COVID, that we are moving towards a new normal. Normally, the scientists say so. Okay, so this is the last line. The last line gives a direction to the whole stuff. Now, let us read the whole essay once. Okay? Our world has seen many pandemics over the years in form of bubonic plague, cholera, Spanish flu, etc. A highly contagious strain of coronaviruses, COVID-19 is the latest in this list, and like every pandemic before, it is also altering our life in unprecedented ways. Like every walk of life, education is also not untouched by it. Full stop. Next para, the first para of the body. Schools got indefinitely closed. To impart education, teachers and schools ventured into online education. Full stop. This has made both students and teachers more tech friendly, ensuring learning getting continued even with closed schools. Full stop. So we talked about the school system. Though these endeavors are, so let's move on to the next pala. Are worthy, oh, I have written 2 R, so I will just cancel 1 R. Are worthy of credit, but we should remember children learn important life skills such as communication skills, social skills, games, etc. in schools, and that is missing in this format. Also, in countries such as India, around 40% school going students have internet, which means majority will be deprived of the benefit of basic education. School education is basic education, na? So if 40% has internet and the rest 60% does not have internet, then the rest 60% of the majority is not getting the benefit of the education. Students in higher education face double challenges. Their classes, mostly online now, were inadequate, and they needed to pay their fees. In many cases, their families reeling under the pressure of lockdown, reeling under the pressure of lockdown were unable to pay the fees. Full stop. University, let's move on to the next one. Universities and colleges therefore saw a drastic shortfall of revenue, leading some of them to declare financial exigency. So, universities, as I told you, universities, I had written UNIV, but you should write the whole word. Huh? This has led to spawning of online universities offering alternative courses. Full stop. Here there should be a full stop. But the question remains, dash, can online courses cover up for the hands-on real-world learning? Question mark. So this completes our second para. So we created a question mark on online learning, and that is what we are answering in the conclusion also, that it cannot be a replacement. So, though COVID-19 has propelled a move towards some innovative techniques, but at the same time has resulted in marginalizing many students. Also, online education should be complementary and not a replacement of traditional education system. So, we should keep these in mind while marching back to a new normal, full stop and end. So, how many words we used? We had a maximum limit of 300 words. How many words we used? See, each one of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 rows we had used, apart from the last box where we had used 13 rows. So, normally 12 into 4, and the 3 slides we have used. So, we have 12 into 4 into 2 into 3. So, 12 into 4 into 6, that is 24 12s. So, we have used around 290 boxes. Out of these 290 boxes, we have not used here, we have left around another 7, 8, 10 boxes to keep gap between the paras. So, we have written an essay of around 275 to 280 words. So, that was our essay. I had kept an extra slide if I exceed the word limit for that, but I did not exceed the word limit, that's thankfully. So, that was the essay, right. So, what did we learn? We learned that in essay writing, while you are writing, you should only think of how to frame your sentences. You should not think of points. Points should have happened earlier in the T analysis. So, in the T analysis, whatever points you have got, to organize them in a coherent format, that is your target while you are writing it. Okay, right. Now, and obviously, I understand that while writing, typing in, there is the opportunity of pressing the backspace and changing anything that you have written wrongly, but in pen and paper that is not possible, and that is another of the challenge for which we have to be extra careful while writing. And that's why you saw now that I was thinking in every, obviously I had to talk, I had to explain it to you, therefore we took this much time. But if you just do all of these in your mind, it would not take more than 30 minutes of yours. Okay, right, because I took almost double time. I should have taken almost double time because I had to tell everything, explain everything. How am I arriving to that sentence? I was explaining that, and I reread it so many times for you so that you can understand my beautiful handwriting. Okay, right. So that said, the whole stuff that I did, you can do in the same process. So if I had not to speak with you, I would have done it within what, 25 to 30 minutes, the same time you would take, right? So that's how you should orient yourself. You could have missed one or two lines also, to make it more compact. See, I took a 300 maximum words, so that even if you miss one or two points, you are inside that 250 words. Normally it is 250 words, but still, even if you get 300 words, you know how to write. If you get 250 words, you already know how to write it. Okay, right? So let's summarize. What has to be done. First, we revisited the steps of essay writing. So in steps of essay writing, the most important stuff is to make a list of points first, and then that would take around 2 minutes of yours, and then go to the essay writing part. So step 1 and 2 is about the making the points, and step 3 and 4 is about actually writing the essay using prep, ERP and the IBC format, right? Okay. And you also saw one thing, if you have noticed, I don't know, that how much data did I use? That 40% was one data, and university is closing down, which is also a generic data, you would also know about it, but these are the only two data. Anything apart from that, I used only generic stuff, yes or no, right? So don't try to bang in data after data, figures after figures inside your essay. That does not make your essay good or more impressive. If you remember some data, obviously do put it, because that gives your essay a look, a feel of being more effective, but don't overdo it. 1 or 2 data point is more than enough. Apart from that, generic points would do. Right? See, this time, this year, COVID is going to be definitely a big issue, and there is every chance that COVID becomes an issue in our essay writing too. Okay, so therefore you now also know through this essay that how do we approach an essay of COVID. Because what would be the biggest problem if a COVID related essay comes to you? The biggest problem, my dear friends, you will face if a COVID related essay comes is too much of data. Your mind is so much overloaded with data, you would think ye bhi dal do, wo bhi dal do, everything, let's put everything inside it and make a hodgepodge, and it would essentially become a hodgepodge and not a good essay. So don't do that. You saw COVID, education, everything close to our heart, but we cannot be too much over the top with a lot of data, with a lot of things, because we have only 250 to 300 words to write. We need only 6 to 7 at the most number of points, right? So just stick to them, okay, right? Now practice this, write 2 to 3 more essays in this manner, and you would see within tomorrow you have mastered, or at least have become very comfortable in writing in this way. This would save your time and ensure that you write good effective essays out there, right? See, when we are using short sentences, we are ensuring grammatical mistakes do not happen. When we are using simple words, we are ensuring that we do not do spelling mistakes and any kind of stupid word mistakes, right? So all of those which are a part of the scoring pattern of your essay, those are automatically ensured here. Plus it is easy to read and easy to understand. Okay, so that would be all for today. Hope you learned something and liked this lecture. So all the best for your exams. Crack Tier 3 and get your dream job. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. All the best.